What's up? What's happening? And welcome back, man. I haven't been here in a while, and I wanted to get back in here and just kind of talk to you guys. Bless you guys. I need to do better. I'm gonna do more, especially videos, man. Because one thing I realized is that anytime I do a video, everyone always comments below, "Hey, man, where are you with your Spanish? How is your Spanish going? Are you still, practicing? Are you becoming fluent? Where are you at?" And so I decided, you know what? I'm gonna continue to talk about, my Spanish setups and what I do. You know what I'm saying? So before we get started, man, make sure to like, subscribe, and share this video because ultimately it helps the channel grow. And definitely do that if you want me to continue to speak, on my Spanish journey, bringing you videos. I'll talk about my travels, all types of different things where I am. Give you some little tips and hints of how it it helps me, and how the things that I've done to improve my Spanish, because for me it was totally different. I slow walked it, and I talked about how my goal was just to be conversational, nothing more, nothing less. I wanted to be able to go to a Spanish speaking country and be able to navigate the country and not feel uncomfortable. Right. So if I went into a restaurant, be able to order in Spanish, if I'm going into a store, be able to ask about things in Spanish, be able to get things in Spanish, and then be conversational, on a basic level, talking, about different things, right? Day-to-day life, weather, you know what I mean? Just all of those different things. That's all I really cared about. And so that's what I got to the point of. Am I there? Yes, absolutely. But then sometimes once you realize you reach one goal, it changes. And so one thing I wanted to do was be able to do business in Spanish. Well, how I learned Spanish and the way that I just spoke conversationally, day to day, that wasn't going to get it done. So then from there, I started to, practice and, bring out the different books. I know this one is very, there we go, is maybe I have to put the link below because I have the blur in the back. There we go. This is a very, very good book. I know a lot of people that talk about it, mention it, especially YouTubers. I got it, and it definitely is a good book. It definitely helps. Another thing is that I do that also helps. I have targeted conversations, right? So with targeted conversations, it makes you kind of have to think and stay in that pocket, right? Because it's different when you just talking and just letting it flow, right? It's for me anyways. I can't speak for everybody else. For me, it's a lot easier. But when it's targeted conversation, um, it gets a little bit tougher for me. And that's where I am as far as conversational practice. And so, you know what I mean? If we're talking politics, like staying in it, asking more questions, digging deeper into that conversation instead of it being kind of a surface level conversation. Because that's where my Spanish, is right now. Right. So, I read that book. Um, Sometimes I'll do Duolingo, but I'm gonna do a video about that, the pros and cons of Duolingo, and what my thoughts are. I'll save that for that video. I actually have a tutor, and my tutor we speak. It's more or less that. And then if I'm studying something and I have questions about it, maybe some grammar rules, things like that, I'll ask. I've never been caught up on grammar. I never really focused on grammar. Of course, now because of things changing, right? I'm starting to focus a little bit more on grammar and just doing it, because how I basically learned was listening, and repeating. You know, I would listen to YouTube videos, and repeat them. One major key I tell people is, especially if you find someone interesting. For instance, like I like Bad Bunny, right? I like his music. I listen to his music. So what I started doing, I started listening to his interviews, because I was like, okay, he's an artist. I want to see what he talks about, see where his mind's at, because before, you might listen to his music, but you don't really know him as a person, in interviews and things like that. It's like, okay, I'm not paying attention because I can't really understand, you know, to that standpoint. But now, I'll listen to just kind of see where his mind is and who he is as a person. And then also it kind of helps with, the accent, which is to me, sorry, Puerto Ricans, but y'all have the hardest accent to me. Everybody give Dominicans the king, the crown for that. I don't think so. I think Puerto Ricans have the toughest accent out of any. Y'all can debate me if you want. Leave a comment. Tell me who you think it is. But I think it's Puerto Ricans. I understand Dominicans easier than I do Puerto Ricans. Hey man, argue with somebody else. That's just my ears. You know what I'm saying? I hear it, and plus probably too. No, I can't say that because I was about to say maybe because I've been around Dominicans more, but that's not true at all. Not true at all. Been around Puerto Ricans way more than Dominicans, and it's still by far the hardest. And because talking to people from South America, when I say South America, Venezuelans, Colombians, Ecuadorians, la gente de El Salvador y México, es diferente. Para mí es fácil, es muy fácil para mí. Yo escucho muy fácil de Centroamérica y Sudamérica, ¿sí? It's real easy. It's real easy. It's real easy for me. But when it comes to something about Puerto Ricans, man, true Puerto Ricans, not New Yorkers, true Puerto Ricans, it is hard for me. Man, I'm like, what? Like, and the crazy thing is, like, it's humbling because you think you know Spanish. Like, you like, oh, I'm good, I'm pretty good, I'm solid. Put me anywhere, I'm gonna figure it out. And then sometimes I'm around certain Puerto Ricans and I don't understand nothing, absolutely nothing that they're saying. So, with that being said, considering that I'm around a lot of them, I'm starting to listen more and more to Puerto Rican Spanish because I'm around them and I just don't know what they be saying. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I talk to my tutor, we could talk for hours straight, never like, no, ¿qué? Repite, por favor. Like, nothing, just straight conversation all the way through. And then I get in a room with a Puerto Rican and I'm like, yo, mento, por favor. No comprendo nada. Wow, it's real hard. It's difícil. And so, but yeah, we gonna talk, man. I'm gonna start, coming back here, man, and giving tips, because one thing that I learned in this process is there's a lot of people that's just like me. They're like, look, man, I travel, so I just want to be able to speak the language when I go there. I'm not really so keen and worried about, the grammar hangups and doing all this and that. Like, no, I just want to be able to talk. I want to be able to understand what they're saying. And honestly and truthfully, I feel, depending on who you are, like, unless you're trying to pass a test, there's something else that you're trying to do, like, this is the best way. Now, I'm gonna talk about the pitfalls in another video of this way, though, because it is a little tougher now, right? It's a little tougher. So, getting to that next level, because you've gotten so comfortable just talking and staying in your groove and in your pocket. So, hey man, my Spanish is still going. I still practice continuously. I'm going to do more videos on Spanish, and we're going to enjoy this journey, man. And we're going to have some fun because I love it. I love it. I love it. We'll talk about travel as well, too. But I'm going to stay right here, man, and I'm going to give it to you. All right, man. Take it easy. Until next time. Peace.